Hello, fellow educators. Welcome to the Classroom Behaviour Solutions podcast, the podcast that gives you weekly scientifically grounded and evidence-based solutions to your behaviour dilemmas, providing a blueprint to developing flexible behaviour solutions that really work for your individual pupils, classes, or even whole school environments. If you're a teacher, a Senko, or even a school leader with a passion for supporting pupil behaviour in a way that is positive and effective, this podcast is for you. My name is Adam Dean, and I'm your host. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Classroom Behaviour Solutions. First of all, I just want to put an apology out there that it's been a couple of weeks since the last episode. We've been taking a bit of a break for the Christmas holidays and New Year, so I hope you all had an amazing Christmas and an awesome New Year. And we're now gearing up to the year 2023, so lots of classroom behaviour solutions coming up over the next few weeks. Before I get into the main meat of the episode, let me just ask, have any of you got any topics that you would like to see covered in the Classroom Behaviour Solutions podcast? Is there a specific situation that you're struggling with? Is there a particular topic you'd like some details on? Is there an intervention that you've been using that just isn't quite working and you'd like some tips on how to use it better? If that's the case, then please send me an email at classroombehaviorsolutions@gmail.com. That's classroombehaviorsolutions@gmail.com. I should say behaviour there is spelled BAHAVIOUR. That's the UK spelling of behaviour. Okay, let's get into it. So this week, the reason that I mentioned there that I'd quite like some people to send in some questions is that an anonymous person sent me a question in and they've asked me to address it in the podcast. So that's what I'm going to do today. And the question was, what do you do or how can you support behaviour when you can tell, however you can tell, that it is there for escape? So you've had a look at a behaviour, whatever sort of level behaviour it is that we're talking about, and it's an escape behaviour. So it's either to escape a situation or a piece of work or anything like that. Now, how do you address that sort of behaviour? So that's something you're going to come across a lot. Classroom escape behaviours are really common in school environments because, hey, not everybody wants to be in a school environment. And sometimes the work is difficult, sometimes there's additional issues around anxiety, mental health, etc. So there's going to be a lot of reason for people want to escape, or for children to want to escape some classroom environments. So how do we address this? Well, there's a few different things we can do. Let's start off with what I'd call an antecedent intervention. So the first thing we can do is look at the thing that particular pupil is trying to escape and try and address that. So if they're trying to escape a piece of work, maybe it's a particular lesson every week, it's maths, how can we make that something that they don't need to escape from or don't necessarily want to escape from? Do we need to put some more specific interventions in around work for that particular pupil? If that pupil has additional needs, do we need to do things like break the task down into smaller steps? Do we need to put in more support around that pupil in that particular lesson? Perhaps we need to make the work a little bit more accessible and easier, even if it's something that we know that pupil can achieve. Maybe we need to make it a little bit easier to build up some of their confidence, because if they've developed a lot of anxiety around that topic, then we need to help them to be less anxious around it, and we can do that by making the tasks easier or more accessible. Another thing we can do is try and make the tasks more enjoyable. So if it's maths or English, have a look and see, is your actual lesson engaging to everybody? Is there anything we can do to make it more enjoyable? If it's a pupil who's got additional needs, maybe they've got special interests, can we tweak it so that it addresses their special interests and makes it something that they're more likely to engage with and less likely to want to or need to escape from? On a similar topic, we need to look at all the different elements of the thing that they're trying to escape from. For example, if you have a pupil that's on the autism spectrum, it's possible, not always, but it's possible that they may find group tasks doubly difficult, because it may be that you're asking them to focus on social interaction at the same time as something academic. So do you need to put some support in that way? In the same sense, if you've got a pupil who's got sensory processing challenges, do we need to look at that? Do we need to provide a quiet space? Do we need to provide an area away from particular flickering lights, or all of those sorts of things? So the first thing we're going to do before we start looking at anything at the other end in terms of escape type behavior is, what can we do to make the situation less unpalatable, less aversive, so that the pupil doesn't need to do that particular behavior, whatever it may be, in order to escape? Now, the next step after that is to look at how we can teach that pupil to escape that situation in a functional way. That's right, I'm telling you that if that pupil needs to escape or wants to escape, then we should be allowing them to do so. Why? Well, look at it at the moment. The situation is what it is. Whatever that environment is, that task is, that lesson is, that's causing them to do these behaviors that we need to support a reduction in. Perhaps they're physically challenging behaviors, verbally challenging behaviors. At the moment, they feel the need to exhibit that particular challenging behavior in order to escape that situation. So what we need to do, as well as try and make the situation less repugnant, less something that we need to escape, we also need to add a functional way of escaping that situation. So that could be something as simple as a green card, red card laminated on a desk, and when they turn red over, you say, that's fine, go and take a 2-minute break. Or it could be a fact that, you just say to them, if you need to take a 2-minute break, take a 2-minute break. Just walk out the room. It's not a problem. I can deal with that. Give them a functional means to escape that situation, because if you don't give them that functional means to escape that situation, if you continue to force them to stay in a situation which their anxiety or whatever challenges they've got mean that they're using this behavior to escape, then they're going to keep using that behavior to escape it, however you address that particular situation. Now, finally, and more of an afterthought, we can also start to add some reinforcement contingencies in. So, first point, we're going to make the situation something that we need to escape less. Next, we're going to teach them a functional way to ask for escape or to just escape that situation for a limited amount of time. And finally, maybe we're going to chuck a reinforcement situation in there. Maybe we're going to chuck some sort of token economy. You stay in here, do this for this long, then you can have access to this particular reinforcement or something along those lines. A token economy, a sticker chart. We're going to talk about that sort of stuff in a later episode, because it's a broader issue. If you're going to do something like that, make sure you've looked at the other things first, though, because if the situation is so desperate that they need to escape it and they're doing these behaviors that are physically or verbally aggressive behaviors, and if you haven't given them a functional way to escape, then it doesn't matter what sticky chart you put in or what sort of reinforcers, that they're not going to be able to tolerate that situation. So if you've got a pupil who's got a challenging behavior that needs to be addressed, and you're fairly sure it's because of escape, or they're trying to escape a situation, or even if you suspect it might be to an escape in a situation, then look at the situation and try and make it less escapable, i.e. less that they need to escape it less, and teach a functional way to escape that situation so that they can do that if they need to. Most importantly, try and talk, if you can, talk to the pupil about the situation. Say to them, is there anything that I can do to make this situation easier for you? Anything I can do so that you'd be happier to stay in this lesson or do this piece of work? Is there a way that you would like to be able to leave the room? So yeah, that is, in my mind, a lot of the key ways to address challenging behavior that comes up as a need to escape from a particular situation. Thank you very much, everyone. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to the Classroom Behaviour Solutions podcast. To make sure you don't miss future episodes, click the subscribe button and share this podcast with others. The more people that listen, the more help I can provide. To learn more and to find our social media pages, visit www.classroombehavioursolutions.com. See you next time on the Classroom Behaviour Solutions podcast. Thank you.